Hello folks, let me introduce you to the world famous Nick Shell. well, thanks. It's nice having, like a hype man or whatever for my videos now. That's great, thanks. Ever since doing the sponsored post for Go Fiber, I'm just, now that I've sold out, it's great because like people recognize me on the street and I've got all the street cred and like Nick Shell, like everywhere I go, it's awesome. Like I have to wear sunglasses now that I've sold out. It's great. So speaking of selling out, I want to talk more about some hair products. I want to compare two. I think this is important because I've done separate videos for both of them over the years that I've been doing hair videos. So let's talk about this. Let's compare and contrast Murray's to Creme of Nature. I think it's supposed to be Creme of Nature, but I'm a masculine guy. It's hard for me to say creme. I want to say cream of nature. Let's cream nature versus Murray's Pomade. Now, just quickly, ad lib version of this. I just want to compare and contrast these because I think it's important to do so. By the way, I want to acknowledge that yes, I've got acne right here. And remember why that is. Because I was going with what I'm going to call the Jared Kushner hairstyle. By the way, he's about 3 months older than me. That's Donald Trump's son-in-law. He's just a couple months older than me, basically same hairline, and he had the same hairstyle as me up until a few days ago when I got this. So because I had those bangs or whatever constantly there, it was causing breakouts. So gonna have to give it 2 weeks or whatever, and that'll clear up. It's simply caused because of that, and that's one of the reasons I wanted to go with the slick back look, is to not have to worry about that. Okay, let's talk about real quickly the differences between these two. Okay, this isn't like a perfect pro and con video because I'm just gonna be talking very casually as I always do. Okay, if you compare these two, what you're dealing with is you've got two cheap products, by the way. They're not gonna cost you much. This is gonna cost you a little less than $3. This will cost you a little less than $6. So we've got Murray's Pomade versus Creme of Nature, and that's Perfect Edges. They trademarked that, so they want that to be their thing or whatever. As you can tell, one of the things they have in common is they are marketed toward African Americans, which to my knowledge I'm not. I haven't had a DNA test, but I can't prove that I am, so let's assume that I'm not to any degree. But something, you're like, well, how do you know that is? Because you can see this and see why it would be targeted to African Americans. With this, it's not so obvious, other than maybe the Morocco part or whatever, but when you look at the label, it becomes very obvious. There's an African woman here, and then on the back too, and so very clearly this is targeted for, and it's funny because that hairstyle there isn't too much different than what I've got going on here. So they're both targeted for African Americans apparently, but it works for me. I love these products, and it's pretty much all I've ever used. Now, I've been using Murray's since the summer of 2000. I mean, faithfully I've been using this. But you saw my video, right, where I talk about Creme of Nature. I go gaga over this because, and this was such, man, that takes me to a different dimension every time I smell that. It's so good. Okay, so what are the advantages you've got of this? You're gonna save about half the money, but again, you're not saving much money because it's $6, $3, $6, $3. So it's not like you're paying a lot of money. Most pomade is so much more expensive than that. This is petroleum based, and I guess it's gonna depend on your hairstyle, but for me, I think now that I've used them both, I realize that I think this definitely holds my hair better, and I think it looks better. I like a little bit of a shine, but for me, it doesn't look too wet. I just dried my hair. By the way, I haven't said it, but right now, I'm using Murray's because the last video I was using this, so this video I'm using this. So if you want to do a comparison, just look at my video before this where I talk about Creme of Nature, and you'll see how my hair looks in that one. But I like this. It's a stiffer look, but I completely dried my hair and just hurried up and did this, and I didn't have to use a comb or anything. It really, and the most, punk rock part of my hair is like this right here, and it just really holds that over with no problem. Whereas this, like even when I put it in, I had to use a comb. So this has a better hold, being made out of petroleum. Something else I want to point out, that the ingredients are simply petroleum, mineral oil, which they're being mysterious, and then fragrance, they're being mysterious. So I can't really know other than this is petroleum based. That's what we do know. Now, when we're looking at Creme of Nature, we can know the ingredients. So, well, there's a lot more ingredients for one. If they're printed on the box, so on the bottom of the box, the very first ingredient of Creme of Nature is water, and I don't even see anything about petroleum in here. So it looks like it's more essential oils based. We've got almond oil, we've got Argania spinosa kernel oil, we've got rosemary, we've got fragrance, which is the awesome fragrance, but we don't know what it is. But already, very clearly, this contains essential oils that I'm already using on my hair to attempt to see if it'll grow in thicker, including argan oil and rosemary. We already know this definitely contains them. We don't know this about this. So overall, if I'll continue experimenting with them, but right now, as much as I love this and totally recommend you trying this, right now I'm kind of liking this a little bit more. Not because it's cheaper, but basically just because it holds my hair better, and I don't have to feel pressured to comb it at all. I can just dry it and just pour some of that stuff in, and it's going to keep my hair looking exactly the way I want it to look. So I'm just going to turn around because, again, if you're wanting to compare videos, this is my hair with Murray's Pomade, and the other one right before this was with this one. So you're going to see the difference in my hair. But the way I feel right now, for me personally, overall, this is probably the one that's going to be more practical for me to use. But, you know, if I get my hair cut shorter, then I'd probably have no trouble using this because I don't need that tighter hold. I can be a little bit more messy and more casual, and it smells so awesome. So that's my personal comparison and contrast of these two, Murray's Pomade and Creme of Nature. And let's face it, I'm never going to say pomade, right? I'm always going to say pomade. It's just how I've always said it. But let's just, man, that's such a good smell. And I'm sure it's in other things too, but I had this deodorant in high school, and I got it at the dollar store. It was this smell. But once that ran out, I haven't been able to find that smell in 2 decades. So there's an emotional attachment right here. But this is Old Faithful. So those are my thoughts on it. Obviously, I'm a cheap pomade kind of guy, but you know me, just throw those dollar signs at me. And yeah, I'll do a video for you. I'll talk about your product, because I'm a sellout.